What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the new Pokemon Pocket TCG Shiny Rev official trailer for the new set that is coming on March 27th. So let's get right into the trailer and break it down for you guys. Just full disclosure, I've already seen the trailer, but basically, I'm going to break down every single card and come up with ideas, basically, for future decks. And hopefully, they increase the pack or the deck limits. Like, I can't stop coming up with new decks in particular, but I also need more than 15 slots for decks. Right. So let's get right into the trailer. So it looks like we are getting some nice little shinies. Well, it is called the Shiny Rev, but whatever. So obviously they go through the animation. First card up is Charizard EX. So first off, Charizard EX looking kind of fresh and nice little shiny, to be honest. So 180 fire, Charizard EX stage 2 evolution. Everybody knows this. This is probably one of the most iconic Pokemon, obviously, in the game, or basically the whole franchise. Stoke 1 fire energy. Take 3 fire energy from the energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Honestly, this is quite good, especially with Steam Artillery, who only needs 2 colorless, or do 150 with no energy like removal. Like, first impressions, I think this is probably a lot better, and also removes the ability to rely on Moltres to charge this card up. So again, like, what would I run this with? That's the thing. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. Like, it's a stage 3, so you got to be very careful. So obviously Farfetch, you can probably run anything with Farfetch. Moltres, no. You could probably run it with maybe one of the burn cards, maybe in particular, get some extra damage. I'll come back to this card. I gotta think on it. Definitely for future videos. I'm definitely gonna experiment with the Charizard EX because I hate Moltres with a burning passion, because it provides, like, it's so much like, especially with the introduction to Cyrus, it's such a, how do I describe it? It is such a weakness to any fire decks, especially with a Moltres, because of the ability, the way Cyrus works. So this is like, this takes the Moltres out of the fire deck reliability, and honestly, I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm kind of curious what the new Charmeleon and whatever Charmeleon and stuff, the other stage one. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking so hard. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, so we got Lucario EX. We got 150 fighting, 3 fighting energy for 100, but also does 30 to the bench. This looks like a much better version of Garchomp EX to a certain degree. However, you can also make the argument that Garchomp is probably, in certain situations, better than this card. It's hard to say, to be honest. Like, you can do Aura Sphere to 100 and then choose who you want to Cyrus next turn with. That'd be interesting. So this card with maybe Hitmonlee, probably Marshadow, probably decent combos with this because they're so cheap in cost. I think those two probably stand out the most to me. Obviously those are staples for any fighting decks, but at the same time, does this provide more value than anything other than fighting? Not really, to be honest. I think this is probably one of the weakest EX fighting cards, to be honest. There is possibilities with this, not gonna lie, but I'm not holding my breath. Next we got Varoom, Steel, Headbutt 10. I believe that's probably just gonna be 1 Steel energy. Pachirisu, obviously Lightning. Basically takes for 10 damage, takes a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your lightning bench. So we got a nice little ramp card. Obviously, that does 30 to this does 30 to light, or sorry, for water cards, but this is much intriguing to a certain degree. I think this provides a lot of value to lightning card, or to lightning decks in general, or the possibility of ramp. The problem is, unless there's, I don't think, like, is it needed though? Like, I can't think of off the top of my head which lightning cards actually need a ramp, because I think the most lightning cards get is 3. I'm pretty sure. I can't think off the top of my head. Is anybody with 4 or more? I can't think. Can't think. We got Wiglet next. Spring out a random 30 damage to any of the opponent's Pokemon. So basically a Dragonite, a baby version of Dragonite. That'll be an interesting and a Dragonite deck. Pescary, basically no retreat cost for, oh my gosh, I can't see it. The Donzo, no retreat cost for them, for him. Rain Splash 20. Again, this is probably a bench setup. He will never actually play this in the active zone. Maybe against a fire deck, but other than that, nah. Oh my gosh, I can't keep, like, my reaction time is a little too slow right now. Next we got Pinsler, Garrett, oh my gosh, I cannot speak. Guillotine Rush for 50. Oh my gosh, I'm having a seizure right now. Jesus Christ. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 40 more damage for each heads. You might get lucky eventually, but honestly, don't hold your breath. Next, let's see. Cry for help. Put 1 grass Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Oh, that would be so good. Which any, like, stage 2 evolutions in particular. So you could probably, but this is probably a stage 3 himself, right? This is one of the starters for that's Sword and Shield and Violet and whatever. Like, especially from the new generations. Like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the basics from the new gen, right? Next we have Red. During this turn, attacks used by Pokemon do 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. Wow. Jeez, that turns Tauros into a heavy hitter. Does 140, can one-shot Arceus EX. Tauros is going to get a little bit more value, especially with this card. But is it as good as Giovanni, though? Giovanni removes just gives you just an additional 10 damage for any card, but this is only applies to EXs. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted with this card. I'm kind of conflicted. I can see the potential, but it's not a card that you would run in every deck. I think Giovanni overall provides a bit more value, but when you're running into a heavy Pokemon EX like lineup, this will probably be a good pick. Iono. Each player shovels this card into their hand, then shovels their cards in their hand into their deck, then draws that many cards. This will be such a good tech card in this fossil deck that I created. Oh my gosh, you can run Cadot, only fossils. Then you can do like just basic disruption cards, basically. Like, this will be hilarious running with Iono. Then you run constant red cards. Like, just like make sure 2 red cards, 2 Ionos. Like, make sure that your opponent cannot do anything, which would be absolutely hilarious. And then you can also run probably a Mars as well. Okay, that looks like that's it. No, there's probably more, right? Yes. So March 27th is when the pack comes out. Wait, hold on. Available on Thursday, March 27th. Available from Friday, March 28th. Uh, that's probably because I'm Eastern Standard Time, probably. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's because it's Eastern, right? On here. I'm not sure. That might be. I'm not sure the time zone difference. What's UTC? I'm pretty sure that's. I don't know what UTC time zone is, but so it's the 27th for people from North America, so which is very nice. So let's break down the new EXs. So obviously, I'm going to ignore Charizard EX, but and Lucario, but let's break out the other one. Break down the other ones. So we got Tinkerton EX, 170 steel, 2 steel, 1 colorless, terrific thumping, 80, plus another 80 if you hit heads on a coin flip. That'll be pretty good. But it's a stage 2 evolution, so I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 7. It's not a reliable card. You'll probably do some crazy stuff with it once in a while, but like the risk factor for this card is pretty high. We've already covered Charizard EX, Giratina EX, 150 Psychic. Once during your turn, you may take a Psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to a Pokemon. If you do this ability, your turn will end. Ooh. So it's basically Magneton. But the catch is if you use the ability, your turn ends. So this is a quite an interesting quite interesting. This really forces like a good turn 1 where you don't have to do anything, like Giratina EX and generate energy on turn 1, which is quite interesting. Dawn, well, you can't Dawn turn 1 anyway, but you can Dawn turn 2. And then with maybe Mewtwo EX, you can do straight up do 50 damage on turn 2. So that might be an interesting card. And plus it's a basic, so that might be quite interesting. Pikachu EX, do 150, guard all energy from it. Okay, Luxray might work really well with this. Also the new Pachirisu might work well. So Pachirisu, Luxray, Pikachu EX. That might be an interesting combination. Trio EX. One of your opponent Pokemons is chosen at random 3 different times and then apply 50 damage to it. So basically it is a better version of Dragonite straight up. And I don't think, is it bulkier? No. I'm pretty sure Dragonite is 160, but you only have to do water energy. So this will be good with Manaphy, Palkia EX. Maybe you can do a Trio EX, Palkia EX, and Manaphy. You can do Origin Form Palkia with Trio EX and Manaphy. Glaceon might be an interesting combination with this. There's a lot of potential for this deck, or this card in particular. Like, plus the constant threat of goddamn Misty. We already covered Lucario EX, Clodsire EX, 160 Dark. If this opponent's active Pokemon is Poison, this does an additional 60. So you can do 120. With Red, you can do 140. I'm kind of curious. Clodsire EX, would that work well with what's... Can't remember what that other card is that does 20 poison. You can comment down below. Like, you'll probably think of it before I do, but that combination, even though those are 2 cards that are basic or two stage 1 evolutions, you can probably run... What else does poison? Would you run Muck in this deck? Probably not. You do 2, 4. You would have to do 4, 8, 12 to run a Muck, Cloudsire, and then something else that does poison. What else? You could do just the stage 2 evolution of... No, I'm just... Cloudsire EX, there's potential here. I would say so far this is probably the weakest out of the bunch, I would say. But this one, don't sleep on this one. I think there could be some disgusting combinations for this card. Obviously, though, this card does not work going into Arceus EX. Like, Arceus EX hard counters this card in particular. But luckily, this is only a stage 1, so not bad at all. Beedrill EX. This card does 80 to grass/leaf. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. No coin flip at all. This might be really broken. But it is a stage 2 though, so this card would be so good with cards that does like a damage to the bench, kind of like Lucario. Obviously, Lucario can't be run with a Beedrill EX, but a card like Lucario EX that does damage to the bench. There is a lot of potential to this card. This might be the best card in the set, straight up. I there's not more to say about this. Like, Beedrill EX, like, this is a tempo card. So good. Like, you can like basically hard counter Palkia EX and Dialga EX right off the bat. Because most likely you would, in a best case scenario, you would probably put, again, it is a stage 2, so maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass right now. But this, it doesn't, it does counter them to a certain degree, but it forces people to charge up cards on their bench. However, you could also run other cards that does remove energy as well. I believe there's some colorless as well, so might be an interesting combination. Leafeon could work with this. I don't think Leafeon would work well with Beedrill EX, mostly on the basis of this. You got a stage 2 and a stage 1. Stage 2s and stage 1s are just a little bit too expensive, especially within this meta right now. So I don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it at all. But Bile EX, 160 colorless for, that's some 4 colorless energy for 100, and also heals 30 damage from it. This Pokemon. This might be probably one of the best cards in this set, straight up. I'm just not speaking out of my ass. Like, this goes so well with Magnezone. Like, the Magnezone Bidoof combination, I made it work in a previous video, but because Bile now like can do 100 damage, all you have to do is do a Dawn from the Magnezone and you're good. And you can run water energy for this for extra bit sustain, so you'll be doing like 70 healing potentially on 1 turn. Like, also Bile EX is basically Venusaur but on a stage 1, so this is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, this is a crazy card. Remember, Bidoof does have to any Pokemon. So let's just take Charizard EX. Let's just take Charizard EX. Charizard goes from 180 to 90 with Bidoof. You bring in Bile next turn. Then you throw a Dawn down, you put Bile down, and you basically go from 2 energy to 4 energy on 1 turn. You do 100, and you can just finish off with Charizard EX. No problem. So all in all, like, there are some really good cards. Like, I would say straight up Beedrill EX is probably the best. Bile is up there. Wugtrio's there. Charizard EX is there. Next, maybe I would go Pikachu EX, Lucario, maybe Clodsire, then Tinkaton EX. I think the main problem with Tinkaton EX is because it's a stage 3, but it only does 80. And there's a chance to do 60. Like, 50% of the time you're doing on a stage 2 evolution, you're doing only 80 damage for 3 energy. But I guess the potential to do 160. Steam Artillery, you know you're doing 150 no matter what. So that's why it's a much more effective stage 2 evolution, in my personal opinion. Next we have Pikachu EX. Pikachu, I guess that's kind of it's up there. I think like literally, I think Cloud Sour might be the worst in particular, but Tinkerton is probably there as well. I don't, and I think everything else you can definitely make an argument for to be effective. So that is it for the video, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful time. Don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe down below. And I'll see you next time when I probably like next time on my videos. I'm super excited to try out new combinations with new cards because like that's usually a boost to my audience, basically. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Love you all. See you next time. Did I say see you next time? Because I'm not sure. Like, make sure I see you next time.